and empty rooms. The first cup of morning coffee was calling to Sierra, louder than the allure of the warm heat of the fire. And after an innovative breakfast that consisted of pancakes topped with strawberry jam without butter, and in the light of day, the new tenant was courageous enough to explore the second floor. At the top step of the stairs, the crimson red carpet runner ended. Sierra turned her head to view first one and then the other expanse of dark wooden floors. The same ebony color was echoed in the wide moldings and doors. The second floor hallway formed a T at the beginning of the landing and was completely devoid of windows, giving it a sinister quality. The appropriate word for the decor of this upper floor was that this would be the perfect setting for a Gothic ghost tale. The wallpaper that covered the walls in each direction was of some murky, dark-colored, large design of vines and floras that was impossible to identify without sufficient light. There seemed to be nothing that looked remotely like a light switch present. So with only the light from the floor below, Sierra turned to her left and walked to the end of the hall. Her intention was to work her way horizontally across the front of the house. The first door opened to reveal a large drapery darkened room. Although it was apparently meant as a bedroom, the room was totally void of any furniture. The next room was a copy of the first. It had the same layout, identical draperies, and once again there was no furniture. Neither room appeared to have ever been used, and although they both were surprisingly clean and free of dust. Sierra decided to try the rooms across the hall and crossed to the door directly opposite the room she had just examined. That door was locked. Okay, she thought. So this may be the owner's bedroom. A cursory examination of the next door proved to be a linen closet. So crossing back to the other side of the hall, Sierra opened yet another door and found it to be a replica of the linen closet opposite it. The next door was a pleasant surprise because this room was different. Although the curtains and wallpaper pattern were the same as the other bedrooms, the room was smaller in size and had a tall, rounded bay window in the middle of the far wall. In addition, in the center of the ebony-colored, varnished, bare wooden floor lay a beautiful mauve and cream-colored Persian rug with an exquisite floral pattern. Sierra liked this room instantly. The smaller space had a cozy feel even in its empty state. A bed must be available somewhere in this monstrous tomb of a house, she mused silently. After all, she had been asked to stay. It was reasonable to assume that more than one room must be a usable bedroom. Sierra decided that she would choose this room for her own. Whatever was in the room that she was supposed to inhabit, she would mine the furnishings from the designated bedroom and transport them to this room. Mrs. Allen had told her to make herself at home. Happy with her decision, Sierra crossed to the bay window in the room and gazed out at the front driveway. Below her was her vehicle looking miniature and neglected. It was coated with grime and frost, dulling its bright red paint. She turned from the scene and leaned with her back against the window casing and surveyed the room's layout again. With growing enthusiasm, She visualized how she would make this room her own cozy nook where she would be at home in this cold, monstrous, gloomy place that would be her home for 3 long months. The excitement of finding room for herself was soon replaced with curiosity to explore the rest of the house, and so Sierra exited the room, leaving the door ajar. On the other side of the wide front stairwell, the rooms were arranged identically, and in the first room Sierra found it was a replica of the room she had chosen for herself. It was a second tower room. In the room she found what she was looking for. There was a large iron bed angled between two corner walls that expanded the room about 4 feet from the front of the lodge. On the opposite corner was an old-fashioned armoire that was angled as if the two pieces of furniture in the room were facing each other for company. Excited by her discovery, Sierra immediately ran to the first twin tower room and began to roll up the carpet, and with much coughing, puffing, and dragging, she managed to transfer the heavy and extremely dusty rug to this new room. Determined to find more treasures, Sierra proceeded to examine the remaining rooms. The doors on the left side of the hall were locked, and so Sierra made her way down the short expanse that made up the vertical part of the T and tried the last doorknob. It immediately opened under her hand, and her face lit up in surprise. The room was lavishly furnished, and without thought that she was indeed trespassing, Sierra entered and began to look around. In the middle of the room was a gigantic bed, custom designed as if to be a room within a room. A complete entertainment center was at the foot of the bed, and a book-lined shelving served as a headboard. The structure was completely enclosed, as if to copy the style of an old English drapery-hung four-poster bed. However, this bed was completely modern in design. It was also bare of draperies, as were the windows in the room. The furniture in the room was a deep walnut-colored veneer. The oversized bed was covered in a geometrical pattern that was a mixture of charcoal and dark, almost mustard, gold. Definitely a man's room, Sierra observed silently. Not my taste, but it is beautiful in its own way, she conceded, as she walked around the room and deftly touched the velvety bedspread. Despite its grandeur and its obvious purpose, the room felt strangely unlived in. There were no personal items on the shelves. The gigantic painting on one of the walls that seemed only to function as a walkway between areas of the room was abstract. Sierra's instinct was that it was no doubt obscenely expensive and bought to complement the colors of the room by a professional interior designer. She paused to study the explosion of color for a few minutes, endeavoring to gain some insight into the artist's idea of what the picture depicted. After moving and tilting her head at different angles, she abandoned the effort. The paint seemed to be thrown on the canvas randomly and meant nothing at all except a profusion of brilliant colors. The painting did liven up the rather drab palette of the room, she decided, and then after perusing the picture again from the other side of the large, austere space, she changed her mind. She conceded reluctantly that the choice of painting was indeed perfect for the room. Then turning her attention from the distraction of the large oversized painting, Sierra focused on a set of double doors behind the headboard of the bed. It was an entrance into a walk-through closet. A bathroom was visible through an open door. Becoming conscious at this point that she actually was trespassing and that this room was the lodge owner's personal bedroom suite, Sierra made a hasty retreat, closing the door securely behind her. Then turning to her right, she absently opened one last door at the end of the hall. A cold blast of air engulfed her as if she had opened a door to the outside. This door was not a closet as she had supposed, because of the door's narrow width. Poised on the threshold, Sierra peered into a dark recess that quickly became visible as another set of descending stairs. And it took only a moment of hesitation for the plucky woman to set her foot down upon the first step. Curiosity gripped her like a shot of adrenaline, and by the time she reached the last stair tread on the floor below, she was imagining secret stairs leading to mysterious hidden rooms. With a giggle of excitement, she forgot the frigid metal doorknob and opened the doorway. Directly before her gaze was a large brick fireplace with a table placed directly in front. A coffee mug and a soiled plate was on the table. A chair was pulled away at an angle where the last occupant had negligently left it. It disturbed the symmetry of the arrangement. Disappointment stabbed Sierra as she recognized the kitchen and the dishes that she had recently left to begin her investigation of the unexplored regions of the lodge. With a sigh of resignation, Sierra proceeded to rinse her dishes under the tap and wipe down the table and stove. Nevertheless, the disappointment did not last long, because after another cup of warmed over coffee, the remainder of the day was spent energetically because Sierra transferred all of her luggage and personal items she brought with her from home to her newly claimed bedroom. In search of more items for her new room, Sierra went on a scavenger hunt of the first floor, as well as all of the closets. She found towels, linens, and beddings in those closets. Without a twinge of conscience, she removed a floor lamp and 2 pillows from the library. The daylight hours flew by rapidly as the young woman worked. It wasn't until her stomach twisted in empty protest that she finally stopped to eat a light supper. The small meal consisted of soup again, this time a large can of chunky vegetable soup and a can of French fried onions that she could not resist eating right from the tin. Sierra took her supper repast to the library, where she had wisely kept a fire banked throughout the day. She sank wearily, but with contentment, on the sofa to enjoy her meal. Tomorrow, she decided, after I have scrubbed clean all of the dust and grime, I will sleep in my new room. And again, in utter fatigue, Sierra curled up on the couch in front of the fire, covered herself with her favorite soft lavender-colored blanket, and went promptly to sleep.